Hi all, welcome back to my Casa Verde. I am going to make the marmelada that is very traditional here in Portugal. Whether this recipe is exactly the most traditional way, I don't know. Maybe you can correct me in the comments. I already have made it once, a couple of weeks back when we first started getting our Quince. For those of you who don't know, actually Marmelada is a Quince marmalade or Quince jam, but a few people already in the comments have, whenever they see my kitchen and this ginormous thing in my kitchen, they ask me what it is. They also ask me why so many Portuguese kitchens, so why so many Portuguese people have this in their home. Because if we're being honest, I have not seen this practically in any other country that I've lived in. I have lived in 3 different countries so far, so Latvia and UK, no one uses this kind of thing. And I have just never seen it. And here in Portugal, it's just so popular. Like almost every kitchen has one of these things. But to start off, this is not what we have. The machine is actually not the original one that most of the people here have. The original one, I think, here is called Bimbi. You can Google and read about it if you want. But this one here that I have is a little one. So it costs almost, a lot less than the original Bimbi one. I think that the original Bimbi one costs about €1,000. Maybe a little bit below, it depends probably which version do you have. But this one costs around 300. And it only shows up in Lidl like once or twice a year, and it is immediately sold out. We were lucky to catch one. But anyway, what is this machine and what does it do? It's basically a cooker and a blender with integrated recipes. It's like the blender jug. It has a blade inside, and you can cook things inside of it. You can cook a soup. You can just put all the vegetables inside, water, stock, salt, everything that you need, put it all in. You can configure it to cook for a certain amount of time, and then after that you can blend it inside of it without having to use another blender, without having to change it into another pot or anything else. So everything just kind of all together. I apologize if my nose looks very red, but I'm just so full of allergies. Comment below if you are about all year round seasonal allergies here in Portugal, because I do, and I just, for the last few weeks or last few days, it's been just so terrible. The blades are very good, and it blends everything up very nicely, starting from soups, which is supposed to be pretty easy, and even things like a powder. This is a chili powder that I made on this blender. You can cook anything on it. They have a few more attachments. It's just like a bigger bowl on top for steaming. They have steaming option. It has you can knead dough, and it has integrated scale. These blades move inside while the things are cooking, and that is also one of the things that is good, because you could compare this machine with some of those slow cookers, something of that kind. It's pretty much very similar to that. The only difference is that it has that blade inside, and it has the recipes inside, and different kind of configurations. And that blade, you can put it to go backwards, which means it won't blade, but it mixes your food. So if you're making like a risotto or some kind of soup that you don't want to blend, but you want it to be mixed every now and then, you can cook it in this and you just leave it. You don't have to mix, you don't have to check anything. So yeah, that's pretty much, in few words, as best as I can describe how it works. And then it has like these different options. There is a time, then there is the blending speed, and then there's the temperature, that has the weighting, the scale, and then it has the recipes, and it has tons of recipes inside it, including almost about everything. It has like cakes and anything that you need to bake. Obviously you don't bake it inside of here, you bake it in your oven, but it's to prepare. Then it has like things like aioli and like all these kind of sauces. There's even almond milk, and I mean, just tons and tons of recipes. I will make today's jam on this, that's why I'm talking about it. Okay, now enough talking about this machine. Let's start making the jam, and I will bring my quinces and start preparing them. Funny thing is, last time when I was making my first batch of this Quince Marmelada, I had looked up a recipe online to see how it's done. For some reason I thought it was something very complicated, but actually only has 2 ingredients. And by such a coincidence, I opened this up and it adds new recipes. I don't know, every month, every few months, I don't know, but every now and then I open this and it says if I want to see the new recipes, and I opened it that day and I looked at it and it gives me some new recipes to look at, and by what chance it has the recipe of marmelada on it. It says Spanish marmalade, but it is pretty much the same thing. It only has 2 ingredients. The method is pretty much the same. Well, as far as I know and understand how this is traditionally made. But yeah, I'm going to use the same recipe just so that I have the exact ingredients, and then I can also show you how it properly works, because it gives you step by step on what you're supposed to do. So I will look it up and I'll press start. So now let's talk about the actual recipe and the actual fruits. So this is quince. It's, if you don't know, it looks like something in between apple and a pear, but it has a very distinct flavor. It's a lot more astringent and bitter. I almost don't even know how to describe it. It's almost impossible to eat it raw. It leaves this kind of very, very dry feeling in your mouth. I've heard people saying that you make it in the oven with like sugar inside or something, like baked apples, probably something similar, then it's better. Then people make this marmelada. And something that I tried out and really, really enjoyed was to dehydrate them. So this is the first ever year that our quince tree has produced any fruit. We planted it 2 years ago. It's a tree that is quite easy to grow. It's a native tree here, and it just doesn't require a lot of anything. It's perfect for this climate. One big problem that we have with this is that it has, almost all of them has like bugs already inside, and so quite a lot of it I just have to throw out, but I'm trying to use out whatever I can. I don't need that much, so I will try to see what's inside. But yeah, that is one problem that we've had with them. So as you can see, the middle part is kind of getting bad already, but I'm going to try to use only the outside. You don't use the middle part anyway, so I'll see what I can rescue. So now I have all of them chopped up. You can see. Let's see what's the next step. Okay, we already done that. And now, according to this recipe, it says it's going to blend it up fresh. But I think if you are making it without this machine, most people normally would just boil them, cook them down now and blend it after, instead of blending it like this. But I think it's just easier for this machine to cook it down if they have blended it. So I'm going to do what it says here. Now the recipe is asking to add 100 grams of water, so let's do that. 25 minutes. And I think if you are cooking it without this machine, you can just cook it down for 25 minutes and then blend it. And now we put 500 grams of sugar. That's how it looks like around, like right now. Basically, for 1 kilo of the fruit, you have 1 kilo sugar. So this is what this recipe is also asking for. Not 500, it needs, as it says here, 950 a kilo, something like that. It sounds like a lot, but most jams are 50-50. 50% fruit, 50% sugar, so this is no different. What are you looking? So you mix in the sugar and cook for another half an hour. So I guess we are finished cooking with this. Let's see what it says. So traditionally this is it's supposed to be thick enough or dry enough, or I don't know, marmalade enough to be able to cut it in slices. Now last time when I made it, I left it in a big dish, as it says, as per instructions, as I read somewhere else, you have to leave it in a dish out to cool and then leave it in the fridge. After even like a whole day, it just wasn't ever like thick enough, solid enough to be able to cut it. It was more like a jam. And I just filled it within jam jars and I put it in the fridge. So I'm not canning this. There's only a few jars that is going to come out of this. I don't really want to can it. I have enough space in the fridge to put some few of those. And they won't last that long because I will probably eat them. So let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same as it did last time. I think it's because I keep putting a little bit so much water in it. Maybe that's why it doesn't solidify as well. But let's see. So this is how it looks. It's just like kind of a brown jam. Let me just mix it up for you a bit. I mean, it's pretty thick. It's like a jam. And this time I'm just not going to bother putting it in a tray. But yeah, I'm just going to fill my jars now and then I'm done. So I'm just reusing old jam jars that we have bought from the shop. They're just clean, and this might be a bit of a messy process because it's not easy to fill it, but so here are my 4 little jars. This is not quite full, and these are completely full. 4 jars of marmelada. So this is it. I'm finished with my jam for today. It's a very easy recipe. It's not may be the quickest because it has to cook for at least like an hour. As you can see, it was to cook down the fruit and then to cook it with the sugar. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you understood what were the steps to make it. You certainly do not need that machine that I'm using. I just use it because that's easier for me. But you really need pot and a blender, and or a hand blender. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Bye.